Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the kickoff of the Beginner's Guide to G Suite. I'm Abid Patel, and thank you for joining us. This is a new series here that we're doing here at Global GEG, and it's going to be with the aim of supporting users who are brand new to G Suite. So if your school or your organization has started using G Suite, then this series of videos over the coming week will be there to help you get through and learn how to use all of the different apps within the G Suite platform. And you can watch these videos live, or you can watch them back at your own leisure on the Global GEG channel. But they'll all be available once they've gone live at the same link and on the Global GEG website. And I'll share more information throughout the session as to how you can rewatch the videos and follow back at your own pace. So to get started, I'm Abid Patel. I'm an IT director from London in the UK. That's my Twitter handle. Feel free to follow me on Twitter, get in touch. If you have any questions. I've been using G Suite now since 2017, so I've been using it for several years, and we've gone through the process at my school. I work in a multi-academy trust, which is equivalent to like a district in the United States. So it's multiple schools under one organizational banner, and I've been leading on the support and the training and the deployment and development of G Suite in the trust. I'm also a Google certified trainer and a Google certified educator, and I'll be supported throughout this entire series by other trainers and innovators who are using G Suite in their organizations as well. I'm also a founding member of Global GEG, and I'll talk more about Global GEG towards the end of the session, and how the Global GEG can support as well if you need any sort of further support in your organizations. So we will kick off with what we're going to be covering today. So we're going to be talking about what is G Suite first and foremost, what it is. 2020, through remote learning, through school shutdowns and everything, we've kind of been thrown into one of these sort of cloud platforms with remote learning and working from home. Some of your organizations and schools might have gone to G Suite, some might have gone to Office 365, some might have gone to other platforms that are around and available to use. So there's a plethora of platforms out there, but we'll be looking at Google's G Suite for education, and we'll be talking more about that. We'll also be talking about why your school or your organization might be moving to G Suite. Why the need for all of this change. Just talking about why it happens. It's not just change for change's sake. There's reasons behind it, in addition to the COVID related reasons of 2020. We'll talk about what we'll cover in the series, who will be covering them, and some of the times you can catch the sessions over the coming week and over the coming weeks. And it will be a developing series, so as and when there's anything new that comes about, we will definitely take a look at those things, and then we'll take a look at how we can learn more. Some extra resources that you can view at your own leisure, at your own time, and we'll leave some links to that, which we'll be sharing these slide decks out after every session, and they'll all be available on the Global GEG website for everyone to see. So let's get started with what is G Suite. So G Suite, as it now is formally known, but still is known in the education space. So there is a bit of confusion there, and there might be a rebrand in the education side of it coming very soon. But for now, it's called G Suite for Education, but the new rebrand is Google Workspace. So don't be confused if you click on some links that say these are support articles for G Suite. It might have already been rebranded as Google Workspace. But Google Workspace is sort of the new name for G Suite. Formerly, G Suite used to be, when it was first released by Google a few years ago, it was called Google's Apps for Education. It then got rebranded to G Suite, and it's now rebranded to Google Workspace because it's kind of a gathering of all of the apps together under one sort of workspace. And so that's what Google Workspace. But in the education space, which is where this series is kind of still focusing on, it's still called G Suite for Education. And something to reiterate, this series will be catering for all users in an organization. So it doesn't matter whether you are an office member of staff, behind the scenes, IT, whether you're a teacher, whether you're support staff, just a regular employee. There will be, because it's an education focus, there might be an education focus that slips in every now and then, but we will be talking about the foundations and the fundamentals, every single tool that you see. So what is included in G Suite? So G Suite, here you've got some of the apps that you can see there. Google Drive. This is where you sort of store your files, kind of similar to what you might have like shared areas in your school traditionally. If you're running if you're running an environment with PCs and you've got an on-premise server, like you would store files that you want to share with other members of staff. Google Drive is like your central cloud-based space that will allow you to actually store your own files, but you can also have shared drives in Google Drive, which will allow you to share files with other members of your organization or your teams. And we'll be running sessions on Google Drive tomorrow, where we'll talk more in depth about Google Drive. Then you've got the main sort of productivity tools there. You've got Google Docs, Sheets, Slides, Forms. So Google Docs is basically Google's equivalent of the word processing tool. So word processing, basically creating documents, writing reports, writing essays, kind of like Google's equivalent of Microsoft Word. And that's what Google Docs is. Similar to spreadsheets. Spreadsheets as well is Google Sheets, is the app that Google used for creating spreadsheets. Very similar to Microsoft Excel. The one thing that is really powerful about these Google tools is they have lots of machine learning features that are built in, which will basically help you along the way whilst you're creating your document. You can pull in data and things like that directly from the internet or the resources. And again, throughout the sessions happening this week, we'll be taking a deep dive into those applications. Google Slides, basically Google's version of Microsoft PowerPoint. It's a presentation tool. The slides that you see here are running within Google Slides, and it's basically the tool that you would run if you want to do some presentations. It's also good for publishing, so similar to Microsoft Publisher, for example, or Adobe InDesign or anything like that. It's a tool that will allow you to create nice looking documents, newsletters, posters, infographics, that kind of thing, and it's really good. Google Forms. Google Forms is a really powerful tool that will allow you to quickly, at the touch of a button, collect any data that you need to collect. It will put out questionnaires. We send loads of Google Forms out. As a school, we send Google Forms out to parents. For example, if we need to ask them, will your child be attending this trip, this school trip? And you send out the Google form, and then you ask them to fill out their name, their child's class, and then you ask a yes or no question saying, do you give permission for them to attend the trip? And then behind the scenes, we as a school can then see all of that data immediately at the touch of a button. It takes away all that admin that is needed for paper and in collating the data. Here you have everything ready to you, ready and available to you behind the scenes already. You can also use it for quizzes, for questionnaires, for tests. And there are some educators from all around the world who are really doing this really well, and have real fun. You can create real fun activities like breakout room style activities, but obviously virtually, using Google Forms. So again, that's a really powerful tool that we'll be looking at. And I find that it's a very quick win as well. If you're delivering and you're deploying G Suite in an organization, one of the quickest wins that I find when you're working with some of your fellow employees or some of your fellow users is something you'll find is that really wins hearts and minds in a great sort of way, that you'll be able to take away all of that workload. And I think one thing that G Suite as a platform is designed to do is to help us to be more efficient and more productive. And I think that that's really highlighted, especially within Google Forms, but throughout the entire range of applications that you find there. Gmail, probably one of the most popular apps in the Google suite of apps. A lot of us might have personal Gmail accounts. It's basically your email client, how you send or receive emails. It's been around for several years, probably dates long before the creation of G Suite and Google Apps for Education, and it's quite self-explanatory, where most of us are probably familiar with Gmail. But I'll be doing a session along with Pili from Mexico on Gmail this week, and we'll be taking a deeper dive into all of the different features of Gmail, and looking at some of the internals as to how you can really customize it and also make it work for you to help you be more productive and help you get over your constantly growing list of emails, because we all know we receive hundreds of emails a day sometimes. Similar to Google Calendar, another thing, it's a calendaring tool. We might be used to traditionally using Outlook, for example, in our organization. Google Calendar is Google's version of the scheduling calendar appointment tool, and we'll be taking a deep dive into Calendar during this week as well. And Google Sites. Google Sites is a really simple, quick and easy way of creating your own really powerful websites. And over the years, it's just got even more powerful. There have been some really great updates very recently. And again, someone from the team will be taking a look at Google Sites through the coming week, and how you can create websites without the need for any of the technical web design sort of knowledge that's traditionally required with most websites that you see on the internet. This is a really quick and easy and very simple way to create websites just through drag and drop and sort of very basic tools like that. So that's quite a kind of G Suite as an overview. I haven't shown all of the G Suite tools. There are far more G Suite tools that you can see. So this is the Google homepage, as you might be aware of. And you've got the waffle here, or the app launcher, as it's more officially known, but we like to call it the waffle bar because it looks like a waffle. And when you click on that, you can see you can access most of your apps from there. You've got a mixture of apps here. Some are G Suite apps, some are Google apps. There's no sort of difference there. The only difference is, from an organizational perspective, is the way your data is handled and the way you're supported. If you're a G Suite organization, a G Suite school, Google Workspace organization, you get 24/7 support for all of the core G Suite applications. So some of the ones that we looked at in this slide deck, that's not the full list. There are a few other core applications. There are things like Google Keep, Google Jamboard, Google Meet, one we've all become very familiar with. So those applications are supported 24/7, and the administrator in your organization, or the IT person, shall we say, who'll be looking after the support aspect of G Suite, has access to Google support 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. If there are any things that they need to raise to support, it's very good. It's very useful, and it's something that's available. And that's those particular apps that you see here. They're not all here, so some of these are sort of not. So for example, Google Photos is not a core G Suite app. YouTube is not a core G Suite app, but because they belong to the Google family of products, you can launch them from the sort of app launcher. And here is kind of the main area where you will go to sort of find and launch most of your apps. There are other ways that you can access the apps that will be shown throughout the coming sessions, but sort of these are the ways that you can access some of the apps. So if I wanted to go into Drive, I would just click on that button, Gmail there, Meet, Calendar, so on and so forth. So why might my school or organization be moving to G Suite? It's a fair and valid question. You know, we all have very stressful times at work in our organizations, and the last, or probably the least of our worries is, or the least that we need to be worrying about is the tools that I need to use to do my work. And so you know, why do I need to learn these new things? Why do I have to change? You know, sometimes we might ask ourselves, if it's not broken, why fix it? And so that's what I'm going to be looking at here on this slide. So I've highlighted here some of the reasons why we might be moving to G Suite in our organizations. So one of the reasons, that probably been highlighted more by 2020 than anything else, is the fact that your files are available anywhere and everywhere to you. G Suite is a cloud platform. Cloud computing is something that has been around for a couple of years now, and to very bluntly and simply put it, it's a case of moving what is your regular on-premise system, so your server that might be in a server room somewhere, or something similar to that, or even, for example, your computer or your laptop in your home on your table. And what you will find is G Suite or cloud computing is just your computer, but somewhere else, not physically in the clouds. That'd be awesome if it was, but it's not. It's probably sitting in a big massive data center somewhere far across the other side of the world. Maybe a few miles away from you, depending on where you live, or in the case of G Suite, spread across multiple data centers all around the world. So effectively, what you're doing with cloud computing is you're just accessing your data somewhere else, and that is what enables our files to be available to us anywhere and everywhere. Gone are the days where you had to carry things over on your USB flash drives, for example, and you had to copy and put it onto USB flash drive, take it home, download it, work on it, put it back onto the USB flash drive, make sure you don't forget to take the flash drive to work or take it home again. And then I'll get onto the security aspect of that as well in a bit, but there's all those worries. All of those worries have suddenly gone with G Suite and cloud computing, because you don't need to download or carry anything with you. You don't need to carry any sort of device with you when you're going between home and work. Your files are available to you wherever or whenever you want them to, anywhere you've got an internet connection. So you can access them on any device, whether you have a PC, a laptop, a Mac, a tablet, or even a smartphone. G Suite is accessible to you through the web browser, like I've demonstrated, or through an app on your smartphone, whether it be an iOS, an iPhone, or an Android smartphone. there are all the apps available from the App Store or the Play Store that you can download, that you can then access Google Drive, Google Docs, and all of the other applications within G Suite. You can also do Google Meets, for example, from any device. You don't need to install or download any software, like I've mentioned there. No need to save anything. It's all done automatically. One of the things that I constantly get told, and I've heard from people, is all this Google stuff sounds great, but I hate it. Why do you hate it? Because there's no save button. And it's sometimes it sounds funny, but it's a very valid question. There is no save button on probably 99% of the Google apps, especially the ones that we'll be going through in this series. Everything is saved automatically. Every keystroke you make is saved in the cloud, and you can then, even in some of the apps, go through and click through back all of the changes that you've made using something called version history. Again, that's something that the team will be going through, but that's the things that's the power of G Suite. There is no need to save everything. Everything is saved for you automatically. If your computer automatically shuts down, if you have a crash, anything like that, when you go back to when you relaunch your dock again, it will be there at the last point that you typed something or pressed enter or anything like that. So it's automatically saved. No need to back up anything. Believe it or not, schools and businesses do spend thousands and thousands of pounds a year on backups. It is serious business, backing up things. We used to, back in the day, back up things to tape drives and put them into a fireproof safe in case a disaster happened. We could then reload all of the tapes and restore all of our data. That doesn't tend to happen now. We tend to back things up remotely to, again, similar to cloud computing, but during the night when most people are asleep, what will happen is the backup clients will go through all of the data on the servers traditionally, and then back everything up to a data center somewhere, and then that will get restored and refreshed every few weeks. So you'll have maybe, say, 4 weeks of backups that you can restore from. With G Suite, all of that is gone. And by the way, that costs thousands and thousands of pounds, the traditional way of backup. With G Suite, everything is already in the cloud. There's no real need to back it up. It's all there available to you. You can restore from previous versions. Going back, I don't actually know how far you can go back, but you can go back several, I think, to the beginning of that very document. And you can restore at any sort of point. And everything is very, very secure. Unlimited space. Yes, you have truly unlimited space within G Suite for Education accounts. So you never have to worry about running out of space again. You can store anything and everything. As an IT, as a former IT technician, I used to have an awful lot of arguments with a lot of my fellow colleagues that please delete your old files because we're running out of space on the server, and if we run out of space, everything's going to go absolutely kaput and break down. None of that worry happens anymore because G Suite is completely unlimited, and you'll probably find you will never run out of space. You can store anything and everything that you need. Obviously, keep it work related. But yes, it's unlimited, and it's available to you everywhere and everywhere. No need to install any large, clunky, or expensive software. It's all available from your web browser. I think we're all quite familiar with how to use a web browser, at least in the basic sense, how to browse the internet. But just like you do a Google search, you don't have to install a piece of software to do a Google search, unless you count the browser, of course. But most computers come with a browser built in now. Your smartphone comes with a browser built in. Similarly to that, G Suite is just accessible from there. So just as you might type, for example, google.com to get to the web browser here, you'll type meet.google.com, and then that will basically take you to a Google Meet where you can then create a Google Meet. Likewise, you might type in docs.google.com, and that will take you to the main section of Google Docs. where you've got all of your documents that you've ever done available to you wherever you need them, everywhere, anywhere through the web browser. You won't get a virus ever, and that's a guarantee with G Suite. So the way cloud computing works, because the files are not stored on your PC, and because you're accessing them through the browser, viruses can't attack those particular files. Unfortunately, we live in a world where cybersecurity, cyber terrorism is very high, and cybersecurity has never been more important. In schools, for example, the Department for Education here in the UK is putting a really huge emphasis on schools now to make sure that they make sure that they have a plan for any sort of event, unfortunate event where a cybersecurity attack might happen, and it is something that we all need to sort of worry about. With G Suite and the way cloud computing works, because everything is done through the web browser, you can't get viruses. We might have heard in the news about ransomware attacks, where all of our files, we might get a virus on our computer and all of our files get encrypted, and then you get a message to say you must pay such and such thousands of pounds in order to get your files back, and you've got 24 hours, otherwise your files will be locked away forever. That can't happen to your files on G Suite, because it's all in the cloud. And if your computer gets infected with a virus, yes, your computer might be infected, but your files and your documents and data in G Suite won't be affected because of the way cloud computing and cloud technology works. So that is a really huge plus for organizations, and it brings down the worry. That's not to say you shouldn't be vigilant. You should always make sure you have antivirus software installed on your PCs. You should always make sure that you're vigilant with the links that you click on. Look out for phishing, and there are loads and loads of websites out there, cybersecurity websites out there that basically help you to identify phishing threats and viruses. And you should always make sure that any device that you use is covered by those security aspects. But it's one less thing for you to worry about in terms of G Suite. Even if the worst does happen, your files in G Suite will always be safe. It's super fast, or at least as fast as your internet connection. If you're watching this, then if you're watching this video and you're not having any real problems, then you'll be perfectly fine with G Suite, because it's in the web browser. If you can access any sort of websites, you can access G Suite, and it's ready in there and available for you to sort of use as and when you need to. And finally, I should clarify, it's free. It's free for all schools, absolutely free. There isn't anything for you to pay to get started with using the basic version of G Suite to get unlimited space. That is absolutely and totally free for you, yes. If you're in an organization, a business, then businesses do have to pay for what is now Google Workspace, and that is charged per user per month. If you're a charity, you get the charity version of G Suite, G Suite for nonprofits. You get that completely free, but you get 30 gigabytes of space. But for schools, which is sort of where our main audience might be through Global GEG, it is absolutely free to use the basic version of G Suite. There is a new version of G Suite that was just launched. That was launched a few years ago and has got more and more popular, especially in 2020, which is G Suite Enterprise for Education, and that is a paid version that includes more advanced features. But the things that we'll be covering in this series this week are all part of the free version of G Suite. I use the free version of G Suite at my organization, and it is something that is very, very useful for us. So what we'll be covering in this series, basically, I will head on over to the Global GEG website, which you can access from globalgeg.org. And there are loads of resources here as to what we do within Global GEG. But I will just click on this link here at the top, which says Global Beginners Guide, and that will take you to the website for this series that we've created. So we've created a subsite for this series, and there's a short introduction there as to what we're doing as part of this series. Here's a presentation that I'm doing right now, the beginner's guide, and here are the resources, and so you can access all of these resources throughout now or immediately after this session, and they'll be there for you to use and go through as and when you need to go through them. And then you can see here as well, we've now got the rest of the sessions that are going to be presented over the coming weeks in here that you can access. So if you need to find the sessions when they're happening, you can see them all here. So tomorrow, Stephanie Howell and I are doing the Beginner's Guide to Drive, which is, and you've got all of the time zones here. So that's tomorrow, and it's at 4:30 p.m. Here in the UK, so the same time as this session. And then also tomorrow in the evening, Dana Cooney and Stacey Klein from California will be doing a session on Google Calendar, and then you can see all the rest of the sessions that are there, and you'll be able to catch up with those sessions. Either you can watch them live, or if they're not in your time zone, if they're not at a time that's friendly to your time zone, then you can watch them again on demand. And then as soon as the sessions go live and they're ready, you'll be able to access the resource slides here that you can then go through back at your own leisure if you need to come back to something at a later stage. But that's basically sort of what we're going to be covering. So we're going to be covering Google Calendar, Google Docs. We'll also cover Google Chrome. So Google Chrome is not a G Suite core app, but Google Chrome is the browser that we use to access the G Suite apps. So it's something that's really useful to know. I think we all know how to use a web browser on the basic levels, but even if you don't worry about it. More than welcome to come and join, and you'll be able to learn how to access all of the G Suite apps that you need to access. We'll be covering Gmail, Slides, Sheets, Google Forms, Google Tasks, something that I didn't talk about. So kind of like an app that allows you to create tasks and reminders for you that things that you need to do. So we've got members of the team. We've got Maria and Leslie from Australia who'll be looking at Google Tasks and what you can do with tasks, sites, and then Jamboard. Jen Hall will be delivering a session on Google Jamboard. So Google Jamboard does have more of an education focus, but that's not to say it can't be used in other organizations. And it's kind of like a digital whiteboard that you can use and collaborate on. So it's something that's really, really useful for everyone who sort of needs to be able to sort of do any sort of digital collaboration as part of teams. So that's something that's really, really useful. And I think someone's put the link. The link's not there, but I will put the link into the chat now. So it's just www.globalgeg.org. And that will basically get you to the Global GEG website, and you just click on the top banner, and it's the Global Beginner's Guide, and that will take you to the sub page for this series. So that's what we'll cover in this series. How can I learn more? So if you're interested in doing some more reading and learning in your own time, there are all of these great extra resources that you can access. So Google have a whole load of cheat sheets for quite a lot of the popular apps. So for example, there's a cheat sheet here for Google Drive, which I've got here, and that takes you to the Google Workspace Learning Center. So as I mentioned, some of the resources have been rebranded to Google Workspace. Don't let that confuse you. It's still the very same platform, just renamed. But basically, you've got your Drive cheat sheet here, and it tells you about some of the features in Google Drive, where to find things, and it's really, really nicely labeled. And it's a great cheat sheet for things that you might want to immediately take a look at and know about. So that's your cheat sheets, and I've highlighted quite a few links here that you can, if you go onto the slide deck on the Global GEG website, you can get to all of these. You've also got the Google Workspace Learning Center. So Google Workspace Learning Center, that will take you to the home page of where, similar to where the cheat sheets are, and you can type a particular question if you want to say, how can I delete an email? And then as soon as you click search, it will basically take you to a whole load of either articles. These are what you see here in blue are help articles that will take you to an actual Google article on how you can do something, in this case create email templates. And these ones with the sort of chat symbol are take you to the Google community forums. So how do I delete all emails? So this is a question that someone has, a user has actually asked, and then you've got people who have recommended answers here. And you can interact with these community forums. So if you've got a really pressing question and you don't have anyone to sort of ask that question, you can always go to the Learning Center and you can ask those questions there. And that's available to you. If you work in a school, or even if you don't work in a school, you've got the Google for Education Teacher Center. So the Google for Education Teacher Center is a really great resource. Yes, it is primarily focused at teachers and educators, but again, it's very similar to what we're going to be doing in this series. It will allow you to, you can start training courses that you can learn the basics of G Suite for Education, and then you can go through and it will take you through all of the fundamentals. There is maybe more of an education focus on it, but it will show you how those tools work in an education setting. So if you work in a school, this is a really great course that you can go through. And then towards the end of it, you can then, if you wish, you don't have to, but if you wish to, you can then apply to do the level 1 and level 2 certifications. So you can become level 1 Google certified, level 2 Google for Education, Google Educator certified, and then you can go on to things like what myself and the team have done is the Google certified trainers and also Google certified innovator. And that's all available. So the Teacher Center is available for you there for free. The exams do cost. They cost $10 for level 1 and they cost $25 for level 2. So very reasonably cheap, and it's 3-hour open book exam. So it's not a very hard exam, and that segues very nicely onto our Global GEG Bootcamp. So if you click on that link, back in June, we did a Global GEG Bootcamp where we basically demonstrated all of the tools that you need to know in order to pass the level 1 and the level 2 exams. If you want to do those exams, you don't have to. You can just watch the boot camps again, and they're boot camps. We had a level 1 boot camp which was split over 3 days, and we had a level 2 which was split over 2 days. And we covered all of the G Suite apps that you need to know for your in order to pass those exams. And whether or not you choose to take the exam or not, it's a really great useful tool, and it was really fun as well. It was really fun delivering it, and it was really fun to watch it. There were loads of activities and things like that. We had, I can't remember, last we checked, we had well over 20,000 people who'd viewed the bootcamp, and so many of them have gone on to become educators. So that's really useful for everyone as well. We've also got the Global Junior Training Series. So this is something that we did as part of Global GEG, where we did very short 90-second videos on how you can access, how you can do things as part of a particular tool. So for example, if you're using Google Chrome, how you can do things like signing onto a Chromebook, how to use the Omnibox. If you're using Google Classroom, how you can do things in Google Classroom on sites, docs, and there's loads and loads of videos there from educators from all around the world on how to do particular tasks within a certain application, and they're really short bite-sized videos. There's also the tech toolkit for families and guardians, and I'll show you the tech toolkit that takes you to videos that some of the Global GEG founders did, myself included, and talks about some of the other features within within G Suite for Education. So this one is on Stephanie talking about how some of the G Suite tools can support you as family and guardians. And then there's one that I did on security. There's one another person did on accessibility. And these again short videos that take you sort of through the basics. So very nice bite-sized chunks for you to be able to just learn more from. And of course, there's always the Global GEG YouTube channel. This is where you'll find all of these videos, the Global GEG YouTube channel, but you'll also find all of the previous PD sessions that we've ever done. You'll find them all here. You'll find all the Global Junior Training Series videos on here, but there's a broad range of videos that we've done since we started Global GEG back in May. There's hundreds and hundreds of videos there with thousands and thousands of hours of views. And there are so many things that you can go through here where you can learn all about all sorts of applications. There are loads of fun videos that we've done on there as well, and I would highly recommend taking a look at those. I'll also mention my fellow GEG UK buddy, Darren White, Ranker the Trainer on Twitter. He's created a series called My Tech Buddy. And My Tech Buddy is a tool that basically similar to this series, but this is sort of offline, and it will allow you to go through an entire learning program as to how you can learn and implement some of these tools. If you click on the link in the slide deck, it will take you to this page. You can then go to Begin Learning, and then you can choose to either do the teacher edition or you can do the school office edition. So I'll show the school office edition. That will take you to a link to a site called Book Creator, and it's actually created in the format of a book, and you can then click through the book, and then you can read and you can see all of the modules that you've got there. So for example, the first module is on Google Docs, and it shows you how to create templates, default styles, how to do voice typing, things like that. And then the second module is on slides and then mail merge and things that you will do in an organization from an office sort of setting sort of thing. This is a really great series that will take you through. At the end, there's also an assessment that you can do, and if you do that assessment, you get a really nice badge. And then if you do all of the assessments, you become a My Tech Buddy graduate, and then you get access to lots and lots of free resources, paid for resources that some of the sponsors have given away for free. So it's a great project by Darren, and I'd highly recommend taking a look at it. I've learned loads of things just going through the project, just going through the program myself, and it's a really great and free resource again that you can use to learn things in your own time. But that pretty much takes us to the end of this first session. So thank you everyone for joining us. Do follow Global GEG on Twitter. It's at Global GEG, and I will put that into the chat as well. Twitter.com/Global GEG, and if you follow Global GEG, you'll be able to get all of the notifications for when all of these sessions are coming through live during the week. Of course, you won't need to watch them live. You can watch them at your own leisure. You can watch them through either the YouTube channel or getting the links directly from the Global GEG website. But feel free as well to follow me on Twitter if you have any questions that you want to ask me directly. My DM's open. I'm always happy to answer any questions that I can to sort of help you along your way. But thank you very much, and do join us for the session on Google Docs tomorrow, and then later on the session on Google Calendar, and then we look forward to seeing you throughout the week. But for now, thank you.